Hello everyone, welcome to our family information session. If you're joining us live, please turn your microphone onto mute. If you're watching this as an after recording, then please don't forget, if you want to have any questions answered during or after the session, click the link in the Facebook advert. Our agenda today is about staying in touch, and we'll also cover Google Classroom and Seesaw, the two platforms that primary are using. We'll also talk about conference calls. We'll go over our expectations with the assignments and the conference calls and attendance, and of course the upcoming Term 3 reports. And then a little bit of information about wellbeing for your children. The link here also for our continuous learning platform. If you're unfamiliar with it, please make sure you've had a look. It gives all the details of the timetables and other connections that you can make and links to learning. So, hello and welcome. This is our first family session, hopefully not the last. On the feedback form that has been sent to you through Facebook, you can add some ideas for any upcoming family sessions that you would like for us to do. And we don't mind with your suggestions. Whatever you would like, we're happy to help. First of all, if you're connecting with us, make sure you contact your class teacher for your first port of call. Your teachers are there at the end of an email or a Gmail hangout if you want to. Or if you would like to speak to a secretary, you can call one of the numbers there on your screen. Our secretaries have the telephones and they're linked at home to the lines from school, and they're happy to help and support. They have excellent IT skills and are helpful in connecting you if you're about to go live with a teacher and you're struggling. So please don't hesitate to give them a call. There's also the tech help information there. You can also find that on our continuous learning website. There's a whole page with some videos about how to use Google Classroom, how to use Seesaw, and of course the tech help form there also. And our technical crew back from school will connect with you online to try and help you as best they can. So, plenty of information on our continuous learning page. This goes across all of our schools, WACRA and our core, as well as our Doha campus. First of all, if you want to think about your classroom in terms of your teacher and Google Classroom and their Seesaw questions, your best person to do is to contact your classroom teacher. Each classroom teacher has a different way of organising their Google Classroom. Some do it through date, some do it through subject, some do it in topics. So if you have a question about those kinds of things, it's best to talk to the teacher. As well with the Seesaw inquiries, if you talk to your teacher, they can tell you how to find those specific things for your class if you're worried about losing work, because Seesaw is very busy. You can also check through Google Calendars for invitations to conference calls. You may or may not have heard lots and lots of talk about Zoom, which we were using before the break. Now we've had lots of information come our way about Meet, which is part of the Google G Suite, so comes under our world that we work with. As you know, a lot of our teachers are Google certified. They have their certification for level 1, and some of them have it for level 2 also. So using Google Meets is actually part of all of our training. So if you get a Google Meet invitation, it will be in the form of a calendar invite, and it just simply says Google Meet, and you just click on the green link. Any other information on conference calling, you can contact your class teacher. If you want, because your child has a Gmail account from our school, you can send them a hangout and say, I'm having trouble, or I'm running late, or please help, and they will be able to give you that help right on screen as you need it. If there's questions about specific tasks that they've set, then really only they can talk to you about that. I've had a few emails from parents telling me about tests or activities that were timed too short for your child, or had some wording that they didn't understand. I can't change that for you, but your class teacher can. Your class teacher is also there to help in explanations. So please don't hesitate to contact them. Again, you can contact our secretaries to get guidance about getting online. Any online queries, they're happy to work with you too. Many of our secretaries are also Google certified, so they have the skills and they're quite capable of describing it across the phone to help you. You can also ask them if you have any queries about fees. And I know lots of our secretaries are on the phones phoning you about fees and about other things that you might be having asked questions about through our Facebook page and website. Any other queries, of course, you can contact the office and the secretaries. The ladies are there waiting for you. And you can contact our IT support for any emergency information that you need. Unfortunately, they can't do Ooredoo network, but they can do if you've got a computer issue and you're not sure how it works, or if you're struggling to get onto either of our platforms and our class teacher may not be able to help. Okay, so our continuous learning. First off, we chose Google Classroom because we know that most of the classes have been using this. I think it was only year 3 that started to use it new, and they've taken to it like a duck to water. We're so impressed with the amount of children that are online using those Google Classrooms. The teachers have made them bright and beautiful, lots of them using pictures of the class as their heading, organising them really well, making them coloured, adding pictures. I'm also able to go on weekly and have a little look and see who's won those POP awards and also who's had CLAs. So it's very good for all of us. Very organised, all in one place as well. I know some of the older age groups are using other Google platforms too. They've got Google Sites, for instance, where they can go and look at topic work, or they can go to our Google web page where we also have our year groups with other work as well. If you need extra work, you can always head there too. They're using lots and lots of the Google Slides and Google Docs to help with explanation and also to use as teaching tools and feedback tools. You might find your child working on a Google document and the teacher putting a comment and then the child able to reply to that comment and make an edit to their work. That's the best way to get feedback on their work, and that can happen on the slides or if they're using a Google Sheet for maths or if they're using a document for writing. Now, just here on my screen, you can see there's an explanatory slide. So if you are not used to using Google Classroom and you would like a YouTube guide or an explanatory slide that Miss Renee has made, you can look at those. Okay? As we use Google Classroom, you can be a guardian in Google Classroom. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you contact your classroom teacher and ask them to be a guardian so that you get updates on what your child has been assigned and if there are any deadline dates, whether they've hit those deadline dates or missed those deadline dates. Talking of which, many parents have asked me about deadline dates and saying, please, I cannot get all the work done until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There is no need to worry about that. We didn't put any timelines on them. Sometimes activities and assignments in Google Classroom ask for an end date, but right now our teachers are very patient and they're very flexible and they don't mind if some of those activities and tasks don't get done in the time allocated. They can be done any time of the day and they can be done maybe next week or the week after. For instance, my phone with notifications from Google Classroom has been on fire because all the children who were doing catch up from the last few weeks before the holidays have been working through the holidays and finishing all those assignments. And I can see all of those notifications going through. Our social media sites are always good to look at too. We have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And mostly we post to Facebook and then it gets put onto Instagram and then onto Twitter. But if you have a look at those, they've got upcoming events happening, such as this particular presentation. We're also planning some assemblies to come along. We've also posted there teacher videos so you can see what other teachers are doing in the school. We normally would invite you in to do a literacy morning or a maths morning. And of course, we can't do that because we can't come on site. but that doesn't stop us from sharing the good practice that happens in our school. So we're quite happy to put those videos on there for you to see what's happening around the rest of the school. Now, there's also a Google Classroom Arabic guide if you want to use that in Arabic. And you can also, if you're worried about turning in assignments incorrectly, about how to click into Google Classroom and do that, you can talk to your class teacher about that. Joining live calls has been a very important topic for most parents. They're very worried about children missing those live calls and not being able to click in. I think now that we are moving to Google Meets, this will be much, much easier because Google Meets actually is generated through Google Classroom. So teachers will be simply clicking to ask for a Google Meet and putting that into the stream. So no longer will you have to type in, please help me teacher, I cannot get onto the live call, because the link will be right there in the stream. Okay, so hopefully this next week you will see a big difference and it will be much easier for you. Seesaw. Now, KGs and year 1 and year 2 are using Seesaw. It's a wonderful interactive program where you can see live videos of our teachers, and you can also upload your child doing things, and we can make comments and add to them as well. You'll notice that pop awards have been appearing in there too, and I've had great fun myself uploading them and recording some fanfares and putting my voice over the top saying, well done, everyone. It's been great fun. I've actually been on a steep learning curve myself because although Google Classroom is something that I use with my adult students when I'm teaching for teaching and learning, it isn't something that I use every day like the children and like the teachers. So I've had to learn very quickly how to do that because I'm a monitor for all the Google Classrooms. And also with Seesaw, but it's very much enjoyable, and I've found it very beneficial to my IT skills. I'm learning lots more than I ever thought I would because I have to do it. So, our expectations. Now, teachers obviously have their expectations, and we have communicated that with them from the beginning. And each time we get some feedback from parents, we put it all together and we meet as groups of teachers and we talk about how to change what we're doing and make it better for our students and for our parents. We very much appreciate that you are doing a lot of work at home as teachers in your own home. And we know that to make that experience easier and better for you and for your child, we have to keep making changes to what we're doing. So, although some of you send me emails and you may not see a change within 24 hours or 48 hours, you will see a change week to week. And some of you I know who, especially in year 4, did tell us in that first few weeks that there was too much work. We did put it on hold and we put in a catch-up week for the students. And during that catch-up week, we made a change in the plans for the following week to make it easier for you. And then we did roll out our slide that has all of the work. So it's one slide that works through the week per student. And that seemed to work a lot better. And now that we've had our holiday away and we've had more feedback in, you'll see it change again after the break. Not a change to the platform and the things that the students are using, or a change to what you are doing at home, but a change in what we're presenting to you that matches the feedback that you've given us. So the workload expectations are obviously different in each age group. We can't possibly compare what a year 6 can do to a year 2. And similarly, in year 4 and year 5, there might be a smaller difference in the expectations, but there is a difference. So firstly, we say that students will get 2 tasks each day. This will be an English task and a maths task. They will also have 3 Arabic and 2 Islamic tasks from their teacher during the week. So if you imagine a 5-day week and you put your English on Sunday and your maths on Thursday, you then have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for your 3 Arabic, and you also have 2 Islamic over the top. They might also get a science or a social studies activity or a mini project to complete over the course of the week. giving them a few days to work on things. There's also a choice board of optional activities which will allow them to practice those studies such as art and PE. I know that many of our creative students are very much missing their out time from outside with the PE department and going up to the art department and seeing their art teachers. So we very much understand that those creative activities are just as important at this time as our English and maths. But we want to make sure that if students are struggling to complete the English and maths that they get every day and their Arabic and Islamic, and they just can't fit those other things in, then the art and the PE are optional tasks for them. We do want you to understand that although we are setting students' work and that this is what kind of work they would get in the classroom, because it's very different circumstances, we are not saying they must complete these things. We're asking you to do as much as you possibly can. And when it gets too difficult, or the child loses their concentration, or you just are tired yourself, put it away, close the screen, give yourself some away from screen time. It's actually unhealthy for you to continue on when you're stressed, and you often don't achieve much beyond what you already did once you start to become stressed. So it's best to take that time away from the screen as soon as you feel it's not working anymore. There's always another day to come back to it, and of course, with our open deadlines, you can do your work whenever you need to. Attendance. So teachers can mark students present, and they do this on our ISAM system, which you can access through the parent portal. And they also do this in our blue books, which go to the Ministry of Education. So they can complete the attendance activity, plus they need to complete most of their assigned work for the day, plus they need to attend any live calls scheduled for them. If they do not do all of their work, that doesn't mean to say that they will be marked absent. However, if they only complete the attendance activity and they don't attend their live call and they don't complete any assigned work, they will be marked absent. You've got to remember the most important part are the live calls. When our teacher live calls and they do guided reading or guided maths, they're actually formatively assessing your child with what they do and what they know. Another important thing to remember is that when our teachers are teaching on those live calls, you might be supporting your child with the IT and helping them to get online, but they don't need help and support with their work. If they do need help and support with their work, they have the teacher live to ask the question. I have some funny stories from the teachers who have said that they've been recording those live calls and they can see the child sitting on screen, and the child puts their hand over the top of the camera and then says to the parent, "Please help me, I don't know the answer." And then a very tired voice from a parent will say, "Actually, the answer should be this." And then the child comes back on screen and says, "Hello, the answer is this." And of course, the teacher knows that that child didn't do that work themselves. So even though they may have got it right, their feeling of success is very short lived. Our children are very, very good at working things out and doing what we call productive struggle. This means that they have to talk through what they're doing before they complete it. No one ever knows the answers straight away, and they often need time to think, or they need a discussion partner, which they can do in the live calls, or they might need to ask more questions for clarification, which is natural. And that's what these teaching live sessions are for. If a child's watching a teaching video, then yes, go ahead and help and support them, but try your best to keep to the guidance that the teacher is giving. I know many of you, like me, went to school in very different times and have very different ideas about how we do math. And sometimes we're very quick to step in and give our ideas of how you work out these addition and subtraction and multiplication and division sums, when actually nowadays there's lots of different new methods, and we don't insist that a child uses one particular method. We want them to use a method that helps them get to the answer in the best way that they can. That's why we don't always tell them the answers. Sometimes we let them get there in whichever way is best for them. So make sure they don't miss those live calls because they're really important for teaching. Term 3 reports. So we know that they're coming, and we know that you'll all be wondering whether it is possible to make a Term 3 report, or will that report be a report on what the parents are doing at home? It certainly won't. It's going to be on your child's work. So it's up to you to make sure that your child does attend those live sessions, because the teachers will be using those live sessions as formative assessment. They'll also be using the work that they receive from your child, whether that be a Flipgrid video where they're reporting on something, maybe it's a Google Doc of writing that they've been editing when using the teacher's feedback to make better, or maybe it's a slideshow for a science project. Lots of different ways that we can receive the work and understand whether a child has or hasn't understood a subject. So on your report, which will be published on the parent portal on Tuesday the 16th of June, as scheduled, you'll see the grades for all subject areas that have been covered online and in live teaching sessions. So we will be grading for English and for maths, and in most cases for science, and maybe social studies in some older age groups too. Arabic, Islamic will definitely be graded, and in some cases Qatar history where children have chosen to do it. PE and art being on the choice grids, if they've chosen to do those pieces of work, then they will be graded for them. Teachers will provide comment about your child's online work habits. In other words, did they engage with the online work or did they not engage? And of course, give them the next steps for their next academic year. If your child hasn't engaged in the online teaching or in the assignments that have posted, then they will receive an NA on their report, because this means the child has not been assessed in this piece of work. Your child's report comments will also reflect their lack of engagement. So you may find yourself with a comment that says, unfortunately, we were unable to give grades in reading and in writing and in maths this term because hasn't engaged online. And that would be unfortunate. And I know there are some children who are struggling out there who haven't been able to engage with us. And there are many reasons for that. And we totally understand that. But for us, we cannot possibly report on something that we haven't seen. And so that's what we will do for your reports. For everyone who is engaging, we will do our best to make sure that we can grade all the things that you've engaged with us in. So, for well-being for your children, our counsellors are here. If you have any concerns at all about the well-being of your child, you can contact the counsellors. Both their emails are here, and they are also having the ability to do live meets if you need them to talk to you and to talk to your child about what's happening or how they're feeling and all the things around them that are concerning them. In this time, it is very important that you notice any changes in your mood or in your child's habits at home. They could be thinking too much about things that are going on. They could be reading the social media, which in some cases is not at all positive and can affect their mindset. It's important when you're at home to try and keep positive yourself, because sometimes they hear us and they feel what we're feeling. Any of those things you can contact our counsellors on, and they're happy to help. So, to finish, before we say goodbye and we go to our live session, or you finish up if you're just joining us as a recorded session, I want you to remember that it's really important for us to maintain our connection with our students in order to help them feel safe during this really challenging time. I know that many of you may have engaged on standing outside or standing on your balcony to clap and cheer all the staff who are working in the health industry right now. They are our heroes. But you know, in our homes, we also have little heroes. They're our children. They're the ones who are missing out on seeing those people that they love around them. They're also missing going to school and having a routine. They're also missing their friends. The structure of their day may have changed, and even to the point of their meals and their organisation of who they are and what they do and what they stand for. They might also be seeing people who are stressed around them, including you as parents, and also hearing the worries that you might have about travelling home to see parents, or with your work life, or even that you're working in your house and you don't have time for them. Overhearing that news that's on the internet or on the television also can be concerning. So give your little ones at home and more cuddles and more one-to-one playtime and an extra dose of patience and forgiveness, and certainly let them know that their teachers are really missing them. I think every single meeting that I've had with the different year groups, every teacher has told me that they very much miss the noise of their classroom and the hugs from the students that we get on a daily basis. It's best to remember that probably the real people who are suffering at this time are your children, because they don't understand what's going on in many cases, and we don't ask them to understand either. It's a very complex thing, adult life, and reasons why people make decisions such as closing schools and even saving ourselves from a pandemic, which they don't really understand. But it's very important to make sure that you help them. Be sure to give them some off screen time too. I know it's very easy to give them a phone or a tablet or a laptop and say, go and play some games on there. It's much healthier for them to be off those screens. I can imagine in next couple of years' time, everybody needing to have glasses with the blue tint. I'm already lucky enough to have a pair, but that's because I've been working on a computer for far too long. So please give them a big hug from us. We all miss them, and tell them that we miss them too. Here are some helpful resources. So our Facebook page is always a good resource. The Google Sites, other bits and pieces on Google Sites to help you, and a little picture there talking about managing coronavirus and anxiety. Obviously, we've talked about your children, about how you can reassure them, let them talk about their worries, and share your own coping skills. Maybe your coping skills are to go and open the fridge and eat as much as possible. I know that sometimes can be mine. I'm also definitely a book person. I sit outside and I need to feel the sunshine on my face and I read a book. It helps me to feel relaxed. Try to limit their exposure to the news and social media. And even if you're talking about social media, limit their exposure to that. Create a routine and a structure. Maybe set an alarm and say, okay, our day starts at this time. We get up at this time, we have our breakfast, and then we go online and see what wonderful work your teacher's posting for you today. Avoid that for yourself also. Try to give yourself a routine and avoid that media that is so negative. Add extra time into everything you do, because your daily stress actually slows you down. You need to give yourself some away time too. Try also to make sure that you limit the amount of time you spend on those WhatsApp groups for school. If you're worried about anything, I know that the ministry often tweets around about 9, 10 o'clock at night. If you get a question, email the picture and ask the question to us. You can only get the facts from the school. Unfortunately, we don't have access to a lot of those WhatsApp groups. And when parents get onto those groups and they wind themselves up and get themselves all angry and anxious about something, you're better off just asking the question to the people that can answer that. So email us, we're here. For quarantine and isolation, keep in contact with all your loved ones. So use your screen for good things. Set up meet calls. You know how to do it. Get in touch with all those family people across seas. Create a daily self-care routine. Maybe do something for yourself, some exercise, or make something healthy. Keep yourself busy with games and books, and find movies that are positive. And of course, focus on new relaxation techniques. There are some wonderful sites out there for breathing, for yoga, for meditation that can really help you. I wish you all well and hope that you've enjoyed linking up with us today. I know that I've very much enjoyed being able to hopefully link with as many families as possible. I leave you with our Ramadan school timings. They will begin on the 26th of April. The new times will be 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. That's the student timings. and the teachers are available from 8:30 till 1:30 online. Okay? So stay home, stay safe, and keep smiling, and remind your loved little darlings that we are missing them very, very much. And we'll see you soon on a video or maybe on a Google Meet somewhere. Bye for now. Thanks for listening.